There are shows in this world that we will never fully understand, except Ghost Adventures. We have watched every episode to build our obsession, our fandom.
Watching alongside each other because no one we know really gives a damn. Watching Zach and crew catch groundbreaking proof of the paranormal, inspiring us to explore our own interest in otherworldly phenomena. This is our podcast. We are Paranormal Putas. And action.
Oh God, we'll never be able to be called like professionals. Hey, everybody, it's me, Leah.
And it's me, Bethany.
And that's not what we're here to do. We're the Paranormal Putas! And hey, y'all, it's been a long day.
Yeah.
It's been a long time.
Yeah.
And what we have here is a personal episode, but this has a little backstory to it.
Yeah.
So imagine
Bring it. We're setting the stage.
we're setting the stage. Imagine it's June or July of 2024, and you sit down to record an interview with the Paranormal Putas, only to have them reach back out to you and say, "Hey, that interview's been lost. And we don't know where it went, and it's gone forever, and we need to re-record your episode."
Yep. So Leah has dubbed these the Lost Files of 6. Oh, wait, I fucked it up. The Lost Files of Season 666. So we were getting ready for, birthing Season 6. And we close up our files, we save everything, whatever. And then I open it back up the next week when I come back because I remember we were recording with Paranormal Journal. And I remember this because I was freaking the fuck out during that interview. Sorry, bro. Because I had just saw that the file for Jonathan's interview was blank.
Yeah.
Like I opened up the audio file and it was fucking blank and I started to have a fucking attack. Anyways, cut to it's like a week of me doing all kinds of troubleshooting.
Yeah.
Only to find out that more files were corrupted.
Yeah, dude. 4 exactly. If we want to get real specific, and not only that, they were 4 episodes, but 4 of like the ones that were like really big for us to set up for season 6, like the ones we were like really hyped about. We were like, oh my goodness, yes, big impactful episodes gone.
Yeah,
and needless to say, we've been on a spiral ever since.
Oh yeah. But luckily we got everything done. Everybody was really nice and down to come back and chat with us. The first person being our good friend Mata.
Yeah, man. You may be familiar with Mata. She has appeared on our show before. I believe it was season 2. And she just always has such great stories. And the cool thing is she's moved from Texas to California. And we had to collect the spooky stories that she's gathered while living out there.
Oh, definitely.
So yeah, we're really excited to have her and we hope you enjoy. Hey, Mara, welcome back.
Again.
It's like deja vu or something. I feel like maybe we've chatted before for season 6, but well, it'll feel like the first time.
Well, I'm glad to be back. Thank you guys for having me again. Sure, this time we'll go along more smoothly.
Yeah. We can hope and dream, Mara.
Yeah.
We can hope and
That's all we can do.
yes, and for our listeners who have been around since the beginning, you may be familiar with Mara, who was on season 2 for us and shared some really fucking creepy stories.
But since then, you've moved.
Yeah. Now I have Bay Area creepy stories to share.
Yes, we're so
Oh,
excited. Yeah, let's get into it, girl. What's
yeah.
going on?
Yeah, so the last time that we did like the stories, like I was just about to move to San Francisco. Um, a lot has happened since then. I lived in San Francisco for 3.5 years, and the things that I saw like up and down, like I have some, the major stories that I'm going to talk about things that happened while I was there. I since then I'm in the process of moving to LA, so I'm actually back in my hometown right now of El Paso, Texas. I am in Texas.
Hey.
Hopefully I can make it down to Austin probably like next month sometime. So hopefully I'll hit
Hell
you
yeah.
guys up. We'll
Yes.
talk some spookies and drink some spirits and talk more spookies and all that stuff.
Let's party.
I know. Party. Okay, so back to San Francisco. We're entering. So the first big story that I have was when I had moved to San Francisco. I think it was maybe just even like a month, and because I lived in the East Bay for a hot minute for like 3 months, like Oakland area, Richmond. I was dating this guy at the time when I went to San Francisco. He heard that I like spooky stuff. That's why he got me that way. He's like, I'm gonna take you to all these like old historic places, and I'm like, hell yeah, It was like one of our first dates. So he took me to Fort Point. So Fort Point is this old military fort that's right, like you see the Golden Gate Bridge, and it's right below it. So it's this old military, like there's like where you can see these where the cannons were. Like it's really super impressive. And it was like, we had eaten breakfast. We were walking towards the place, and then he's all like, asked me that question that people ask me is like, do you feel anything? Do you see anything? And then me, my dumb ass, just like, oh, let me see. I didn't even like call in for protection or anything, right? And all of a sudden, I feel like this like crazy like despair and dread, and I hear like a lot of voices of like a sea of voices of like crying out in despair. And I was like, oh, that was like, I probably shouldn't have done that. And then I blocked it off, and I'm like, I just told him real quick about what I felt, and I'm like, well, this makes sense because of the people that have completed suicide in the Golden Gate Bridge and people that died in shipwrecks and all that stuff. So, I kind of like, not to like put a damper on my date, I was just like, we just proceeded going around, looking into the rooms and, just, having a cute time. It was a pretty new relationship. And then he took me home that night, and like, because I had been spending the night at his place. And like, as soon as I like start, when you start drifting off, like you're gonna fall asleep, like that last, like, oh, I'm tired, this is it kind of thing. I like close my eyes, and I am back at Fort Point in the bottom of the courtyard on the cement, and I feel it for like a hot second. Like I feel like the air and everything. And then crazy, like I open my eyes and I'm back in my room. Holy shit. I just like, for a brief moment, I just like astral projected there.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, oh, this is not going to happen. So, like, sometimes like I got to work tomorrow. It was a Sunday. Like I got up and like Florida watered and saged. I'm like, I'm going back to sleep. So, that was like one of the craziest, like that scene in the Conjuring 2 when she like, do you guys remember that movie? When she like wakes up like in the bottom of like in the downstairs. I'm like, that's exactly how it felt. And I felt the coldness, and I was literally like sleeping in the same position. Like it was just crazy. I was just like for like a hot second, I saw like the night sky and everything. And I'm like, oh, it's because they're calling me back there, like can't really help, with stuff like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was like the first like big encounter. And then same guy that I was dating, he lives in the Mission, which is like the Mexican historic part of San Francisco. That has a lot of history, like it's been kind of like on the shadiness. Like there's been a lot of stuff that has happened in the mission. So it has a bunch of like weird vibes. Like a lot of entities like to hang out there. And I remember when I like was dating him and like we were talking in the kitchen and I was telling him, I was a little drunky, and I was telling him about the lady that was in his house, and I started describing her. And then he's like, that sounds like it's the owner's mother that used to live here. I was describing her like little old lady, Mexican. She likes to wear her hair up in a bun. She's really thin. Like she's super tiny and used to like wearing like this like fuchsia type purplish like pink dress. And I was describing it like, I think like he believes me. He believes in the paranormal, but I feel like that's when it really started to set in that like I knew like holy shit, she's actually saying these things, you know?
Yeah.
It's like at first like it's like that whole thing like, you know, everyone wants a spooky girl until they start being spooky. until I tell you to start seeing shit in your place.
Get the fuck out of here. I don't know what you're doing.
Cross the line.
Yeah. You're too spooky.
You're too spooky. No, but you know, high risk, high reward, you know, like I can cleanse your place, you know. But another night, like we were hanging out because we were making food, and then same thing, like we're having like a drink and everything, like, and then I was just telling him how like I had a dream about her, and like she was showing me like how the house layout used to be, because they had divided it into like two complexes. But she was showing me how her house used to be. And then, you know, like all of a sudden we see like, well, he's like I'm like leaning on the kitchen sink and he is standing in front of me, and like he's kind of like he can see the hallway too, like, and then he has his arms against like the kitchen aisle, and like all of a sudden somebody runs from the bathroom through the hallway. And he lives by himself. So it was just me and him there. And it, like, and then my eyes go wide, and then he's all like, don't do that. Don't do that. I saw it too. Don't do that.
Do you know what it was? It the old
It was
lady?
a lady. Yeah, I saw her. Yeah.
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 Well, I was just wondering if it was like something else.
No. But there was a lot of shit around his but it was, like once I cleansed it, it was just the lady that was there.
Yeah.
But it was just so funny. Like he got so scared. He's like, it's just funny how it's like he was just like kind of like ignore it. Like
Yeah.
And for me, I'm like, I want to explore more.
Yeah.
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 Let's bust out. Let's make a Ouija board out of paper and like here we go.
Paper in a little glass. Yeah.
Probably would have broken up with me the next day. But yeah, so that was pretty interesting. That was in the mission part of San Francisco. Where I lived was the outer Sunset, so that was like the beachy part of San Francisco. And then the outer Sunset and the Richmond are like right kind of connected, and then like in the middle is Golden Gate Park, but they're like, you know, San Francisco is super small. It's like smaller than what people think. I used to go to Land's End every day. I don't know if you guys like would see like sometimes my story, and I was always like at a trail and like see the ocean. That was like Land's End, and then right next to it is the Sutra Baths. So I don't know if you guys like have seen spooky stories online about the Sutra Baths or anything, but so the Sutra Baths were like created in like the late 1800s, early 1900s, and it was like this huge luxury bathhouse, and they used to have like over 500 like dressing rooms. Like it was like for the rich, and they used to have like these Olympic sized pools. And so people, like, that was like the thing to do. Like, people would get the train. There was nothing out there where I used to live. It was all sand dunes. So it was like, oh, you're traveling to like this magnificent place, and like, so it was like the rage back in the day. And then in the 70s, like, it had deteriorated, like it was no longer really in use, and they were about to tear it down. And it ended up catching on fire in the 70s. So instead of building stuff there, the people who bought it just like claimed out the money and just left it in ruins. They're like, well, this is actually, we don't have to do anything. We just get the money from it. So there's the Sutra Baths ruins, and people from all over the world go see it because, the outer sunset is one of the best places in the world to see sunset because it's just gorgeous, because there's nothing past that, just the Pacific Ocean. So like, I would always tell people when they would drop me off from like downtown or the opposite side of the city, because like, it's not far, but it's just tedious because of traffic and just like, but I'd be like, sorry, I live in the ocean, like, because I live like 6 blocks away from the beach. So this place like is very dear to me, and it's funny because I had a couple of paranormal instances there, but for the most part, it was like very peaceful, even though like where Land's End connects to a golf course and the Legion of Honor. Back in the day, there used to be a cemetery. So since San Francisco is so small, the cities are like, this is wasting land. Like, so they passed that a law that they were gonna like exhume the bodies and move them to Colma, because nobody has been able to be buried in San Francisco since before 1901. Like, nobody is buried in San Francisco. Like, you have to be buried in Colma. So like, at the family members' expense, they were like, hey, we're gonna dig up your loved one, you're gonna have to pay for it. So the people that couldn't pay, or the people that were forgotten, were left underground. So that area where Land's End is, the golf course, there's about 10,000 bodies buried underneath. Their tombs were repurposed across the city. So when you go to like Wave, Oregon or everything, like you can see the names like on the floor, because it's all like they repurposed
That's wild.
the headstones. And I'm like, this is like, San Francisco's hella haunted for many reasons. Like, this is the one you brought it down like on everybody, But yeah, so I used to like going through like grave markers, because there's some in the golf course. There's like a Chinese one from like the Chinese museum, the Odd Fellows too. So I love all that shit, and I'm like, let me see what I can see, But it happened to me on like a couple occasions where like I had been listening to like spooky podcasts, and it was like, it's always when the sun starts going down in the fall time that I miscalculate that I should be getting out of the trail, because once you're stuck. You're just gonna have to like pretend to jog if you're scared, which I did on a couple of occasions. I'm not scared of the coyotes, and like I'm not really scared of the ghosts, but like a couple of times I was listening to podcasts and I would hear. Once I was talking on the phone actually with my friend Nathalie, and I'm like, hey, hold on, somebody's running really fast, I'm gonna get out of the way. And I turned around and there was nobody there, and I'm like, dude, what the hell? And I was just like freaking out on the phone. And then of course I started jogging, and I was just like, that was like so weird, because like this person was gonna crash into me, but there was nobody there.
Ooh.
And then it happened to me like one or two, like 3 times, two more times, the same thing while I was like getting stuck mid trail. And I was like, okay, well, I knew that somebody looked like, I think I had only read, it's funny because I went there almost every day for like 2.5 years, and like I never really read too much on like the Land's End property. And the markers that you see there, like for tourists and like for you to learn, like I never stopped by and read them. And I'm like, one day I was like, I'm gonna read them, I should know. And like the section to where like I've been hearing like the being chased, basically, there was a marker, is like over 300, it was talking about there was over 300 shipwrecks that had happened in that particular part of the bay. That's why there's 2 lighthouses there. So over
Damn.
300 shipwrecks, plus like it's on Ohlone land, which is native, native land, and then 10,000 bodies. I'm like, wow. I'm just literally walking into like like portals and portals every day of like spirits and stuff, that are coming back. But yeah, it's just like I always felt really peaceful there, but it was just like a very like I always felt like I was being watched. But
Mhm.
the first thing, like I remember my friends from City Alchemist, like Eric was all like, when you go anywhere new, especially like a special place like where, Ioloni, where the people of the land like offer them, like the first thing I did, offer them flowers and fruits.
Yeah.
So I was all like, okay, well, nobody possessed me by the time I was there. Like, it was cool. But thing about Land's End, connects right next to the Sutra bath. So I have a story about that. That one wasn't as nice, but so one of my favorite places in San Francisco is Museum Mechanique, which is that's in the Fisherman's Wharf. Like, it's Pier 39. Like, it's where like everybody goes when you go and visit San Francisco. So Museum Mechanique is like it houses these automatons from like early century. Like the oldest one was from 1895. Like, it was crazy. Like, and it's so funny, it's just like this little boy and this elephant, and you put in a quarter, and all it does, it has like the little elephant's nose, because it blows up air, like 3 little tinsel like go up,
Cute.
25 cents. And I was like, wow, this was all the rage in 1895. Everybody would be like, hey, did you go see the elephant and the boy?
Hell yeah. I want to see it.
No. So I was going through the museum, and I was they also have like a lot of, like, in the back they have a lot of retro video games from the 80s and 90s, which is really cool. So I used to spend a lot of time there, especially when I first moved to San Francisco, just because like I didn't know anybody. So I was all like, what are you gonna do? Go play around, do like old school shooting games, and that was like my fun time. And then one time I was talking to my friend through FaceTime, because that's what I did a lot when I was in San Francisco, just to like catch up and like show people and just like not be as lonely. And like I was walking through, and I was telling my friend Rita, I was just like, oh yeah, this place, like I just feel vibes here. Like, it's definitely haunted. Like, you can just smell it too, because when it's old, you're like, oh yeah, it's haunted. Like, it's just like, it's too old not to be. Too many hands have passed this. Like, just the history. I was like walking around, and then she's all like, same question of like, do you feel anything? Do you see anything? Question. And I was like, and I've gotten better about it, but like sometimes I'm just like, oh, let me see, like I don't think about it. And then all of a sudden, like I feel like I had stopped by like this old like music, those little machines that would play by themselves with the little piano keys and stuff like that. All cute, like kind of like saloon type music,
Yeah.
And like, because I had seen that I had one of my favorite songs, which is St. Louis Blues. So I'm like, let me put a quarter and see if like it'll play my song, right? And then like when my friend Rita had asked me that question, and like I opened myself up, I felt like this pressure on my chest, and I felt sick. Like something latched itself onto me. Like it was just like waiting. Like I felt sick, like I was gonna throw up. I was like, I had to get away from it. And I was like, oh crap. And I like knew, like, I'm like, oh, this is gonna come bite me tonight for sure. Like, I don't think I'm getting away from this one,
No, I don't like it.
Because sometimes, like, I don't know if it happens to you guys when you go into a place and the energy is really heavy, and like, oh, I'm gonna probably have to deal with this later when I get back home, You just feel weird.
Yeah.
And then I ended up reading on the actual like music machine itself that it was one of the pieces of music and like furnitures that survived from a sutra bat's fire, which
Perfect.
Yeah.
right? And I was like, oh, it probably senses that I'm there like almost every day.
Yeah.
Like maybe it's trying to hitch a ride with me, you know. But this entity was like not human. I came to find out later on that night. So I was asleep. This is one of like the freakiest stories that I like, things that has ever happened to me. But I was home and I was feeling kind of weird. But I was like, it's around midnight. I'm trying to fall asleep, and like I ended up falling asleep, and I wake up and I look at my room and it looks different. And I'm like, oh, my room's different. And since I asked to project, I'm like, I start touching around and see that I'm like, yeah, I'm astral projecting. Like, damn it. Because that's usually what happens to me when I'm in very heavy energy. Like, it pushes me out of my body. And then all of a sudden, like, I see this like entity, and it's like a kind of like a shadow, and it's like in the edge of my bed, and it's just like doesn't have a face, like it's just just like a shadow figure. And I was just like kind of like telling it to go away, and because somebody said that, and you say it in the name of the Most Highest, I command you to go away. It's like one of the most powerful things you can say when you're in a state like that. And all of a sudden, like it went underneath the sheets, like my bed sheets of my bed, and I saw it forming. Like the body was forming. And I was like, oh my God. And my ass touches it. Because I'm trying to push it down, and I'm telling him in the name of the Most Highest, I command you to leave. But it's crazy because there was like pressure in my body, like it was resisting me, and it was hard for me to come out with those words.
Damn.
And then like all of a sudden I wake up like back in my place. Like I had like the lights were still on, right? Like my little night light, my TV was going on. It was like a span of like 20 minutes that happened. All of that.
Wow.
And
What
I'm like, huh?
What did it feel like to you? Did it like, because I would imagine it
No
probably felt
longer. Yeah.
Yeah, I was like,
It felt a lot longer than that.
Yeah.
It felt like at least like twice as long as that.
Yeah.
And then I woke up. That one really disturbed me. And I was like, I had a little bit of trouble sleeping, but I eventually was able to fall asleep. I just woke up, Florida watered me, saged a little bit. That's all I can do, really, And then it does manage to go away eventually, but I was listening to a podcast again in Land's End. And this time, though, this was weird. Nothing like this has ever happened to me the whole like 2.5, like almost 3 years that I was walking that trail. Like I was listening to a podcast, and it's about a PTD. Do you know Peggy the doll?
Oh yeah.
It's supposed to be like super haunted. So it was a really spooky episode, right?
Yeah.
And all of a sudden I hear like a bunch of coyotes, like as I'm trying to leave and the sun's going down, a bunch of coyotes howling like around me. And it was like still daylight, but it was just like, I've never heard so many coyotes. I'm like, something's going on. Like I go back home, like I have a nightmare that like my family's being ripped apart. Like it's just crazy. Like this entity was so strong. Like eventually I did manage to pry it away by just keep cleansing it, cleansing my place and myself. was pretty intense. And that made me think, I'm like, okay, every time I go to Museum Mechanique, I have to shield again, because
Yeah.
that was, I don't think I've, just the level of scary that was, especially like it going into my bed that way. I was just like, can't believe this is happening.
That's terrifying. How long did it plague you?
For a couple weeks.
Weeks.
Yeah, and then that wasn't the last time. Actually, it actually was like a few months after that same entity, like we had gone to Monterey. Me and my sister had gone to Monterey. I think it was earlier on this year, because that happened last year. The whole Museum Mechanique happened around summer. So we had gone to Monterey, and it was like around the time my dad's birthday was, and he had passed away. So I was like really sad. And like, for me, like my emotions are very tied to my abilities. So like when I'm sad or depressed or feel weird, like I do tend to attract a lot of negative energy, like easily. They're like, oh, this bitch is sad, like,
Time to
leave it on.
Yeah.
Let's make her sadder.
Yeah.
Let's be all sad together. But yeah, not in a good way though. But so we're staying at this place called the Green Gables, right? Which is in Pacific Grove, which is right next to Monterey, and like the aquarium and everything. It's really pretty over there. And of course, like I wanted to stay at a haunted one, but little did I know that this one actually, like, it pretty much was haunted. Like everything over there is haunted. But I was having a good time, but not really. Like deep inside, I was still kind of sad. And I had a hard time sleeping. And my sister was like in the little sunroom next to the windows, when she was just like conked out. And I was just like having such a hard time sleeping, because like every time that I would close my eyes and like try to quiet my head, I would hear like so many voices, and I couldn't stop them. It was just like radio frequency of just like a bunch of voices talking. And I was like, ugh, I'm gonna have to wait until after 4 a.m, because that's usually when it's crazy, from like 12 to like after 4, because it's so cliche, like that after 4 things start quieting it down. It's crazy. But I'm like, oh, I know I'm gonna have to wait, because that's when I used to astral project a lot, and I didn't know how to control it, or would get too scared. Like I would feel like the breakdown on my body of like, I feel hot and cold, and my head feels funny and fuzzy. I'm like, I'm gonna astral project tonight. So when I was younger, I would like not sleep until 4, because that's past that hour. So it's the same thing with like voices too. And it's funny because I kept going in and out of the bathroom, because I was like drinking water, and I'm like, that was also contributing to me not being able to sleep. And like the bathroom was not in the room. Like our bathroom was across the hallway, because it was an old house, but it was the best room, because it had the little beachy sunroom in the day bed, it was all super quaint. So we took that room because of the view. And so I would keep coming in and out. When I closed the door, and these are heavy ass doors, right? And I was trying to go to sleep, and like in the middle of the night, like somebody opens it, and I'm like, damn, I should have locked it. But since I was coming in and out a lot, there wasn't really people there, because it's a cute bed and breakfast. Like, I didn't think that was going to be an issue, like.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was like, so it was kind of annoying. So I didn't really see too much there, but when we got back to San Francisco and went to Little Italy, which is North Beach, me and my sister had been drinking, and I wasn't that drunk, but we went to this place called Specs Adler's Museum. They have a bunch of crazy shit there. And this was like what has like, it almost sounds like unbelievable for me to tell this story, but I swear to God, this happened. I had been drinking, and I I ordered a drink, and there was this older lady behind the bar. Like, and she was talking to me, and I was talking to her about how like Tom Waits used to play that piano over there, and if she had heard any stories, whatever. She's like, oh yeah, she was just telling me stuff. Like, we're just like making small talk about like the place. And then like I ordered a drink, and then there was this guy who was like, hey, I like your Razorhead shirt. And now like me and him, you know how when you are being social in a bar, you're just like yapping with people. And like we had been talking for a minute, and I was talking to his friends, and then like the bartender, this male bartender comes, an older man, was like, hey, because it's kind of a dive bar, but it's kind of hidden. It's not like a super like trendy. More of the locals from North Beach will attend that. But he was like, hey, do you want a drink? And I'm like, yeah, I ordered it from the older lady that was behind the counter, and I never got it, but kind of forgot about it since I was like talking. He's like, and he was like, there hasn't been an older lady. I'm like, did she leave? I'm like, it was the older lady that was here before you. And then like there was no woman has been working today. I was like having a shining moment, like seriously.
Yeah. What kind of shining shit is
God,
this?
dude. And then like I was talking to her, and like I was telling her, and I was describing her like, no, nobody that looks like that works here.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my goodness.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, I kind of like shut up, and like I in disbelief, like I was just kind of like, you know what, like don't say anything more, because he's gonna think that you're not, or you're really drunk. So I was like, okay, for your own preservation in front of people in the public, just like, okay, well, I ordered my drink, and like my sister had come in from yapping some other dude's ear off, and like I told her what happened. She's like, well, no, actually I hadn't told her what happened. She just saw me, and then she's like, oh my God, I was talking to a lady and she wasn't there. She's like, oh, you're seeing ghosts? Nothing. And then she just like gets her drink and like walks off. She's like, because I guess she's had more of an experience like that when she was little. That used to happen to her all the time, and she'd be like, no, that person was there. I was talking to them. But now, like in my head, I start going into my head, like, how was I looking to these people? Was I like talking to myself?
Yeah.
My sister was like yapping with some other guy. It's not like she saw me,
Yeah.
But I swear to God, like like the way that she looked, like she was like an older lady, and she had like reddish hair, like she was thin, like she was a white lady, like in her maybe like early 60s, like. And it was like, since it's a dive bar, there's a bunch of like older people working there that I was like,
Yeah.
she was she looked Italian. That's an Italian neighborhood.
Yeah.
So I was like, that was crazy. And like I was like, oh God, I need to like sage and cleanse myself, and just, that was wild. That's probably one of the wildest experiences I've had in my life, of like interacting like that with the spirit, like at a bar with like a bunch of people.
Yeah.
Well, not a bunch of people, but it was a dive, so there was people. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Had anybody ever seen her before? Anybody else?
No. That's the thing. I'm like, God, I wish there would have been like, oh yeah, this person used to work here.
Yeah.
The way, and like, you know how like bars will have pictures of like their their people, like the bartenders that have been there before, or like that have passed, or like their favorite people that come by every day, their regulars. Like I kept looking at that, like the few times that I went there back again, and like just trying to look for her.
Yeah.
And see if she's in one of the pictures.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was at Specs Adler in San Francisco, in North Beach. But yeah, soon after that, like I was still going through like this wave of like depression. I had gone back to Musique Mécanique because, oddly enough, that was one of the places that would help my depression. But also, like, I was like, I would have a habit every time I passed by that music box when I was like there, I'd be like, don't you dare. I would be like, nope. Or I would go, no. I would physically be like, no, you can't come with me. And it did one night, and I was like, the next day I had been working. I was actually working, and like I see that somebody is outside my door, and you know how you can see if there's no carpet, it's floors, and the sun would reflect. Like I saw that somebody like came in like through the kitchen and was just standing in front of my door, and I was alone, and I'm like, damn it, it's you again. I knew it was him because I kept feeling like I was gonna sleep paralysis at night, but I managed to nip it because I kept saging myself. Because I already knew after that event at the Specs Adler, I'm like, okay, well, we're probably gonna need to do this like almost every day. But one of the last things that I saw when I was there was I was walking through Golden Gate Park. And I don't know if you guys have heard like about this ghost story in Golden Gate Park in Stowe Lake, the Lady of Stowe Lake. So this actually is like an old haunt. Like I feel like the first reported newspaper like sighting was like the early 1900s. So people have been seeing her since then. So basically, like this lady was in Stowe Lake, and she had been talking to another lady, and her stroller had rolled off, and she didn't even notice because she was talking, and her kid went into the lake, and then she went after. Story goes that she went after her to try and find her baby, and that she ended up drowning herself trying to find her. So, like, that's the story, and they see this lady in white there. I went a couple times, and I just felt stuff, nothing too crazy, just your normal, like, oh, I feel somebody watching me. There's definitely something here. That presence is definitely there. But one of the days, and I had been walking through Golden Gate Park, I was close to, like, the museums, and it was still daylight. It was, like, around sunset time, so there was still light outside. And I'm walking through, and there's like this cabin that's like a recreational, like old pioneer kind of times, right? And I'm like, oh, that's cool. I've never seen that before. And like I see, as I'm walking, and there's people too around, I see this lady in like a black cloak and like kind of like a bonnet. And I'm like, it's like solid. And I'm like, oh, there must be some sort of reenactment of something going on. You know what I mean? Like people are artsy over there. So I was like, there must be some sort of play that's happening. And I'm like, wait a minute. And something in me told me, go after her. Go see what they're doing, curiosity. So I like beeline, like right to where she was at, trying to like follow her. And I followed her into a trail. And I kept falling, and then, like, I didn't see her anymore at all. And the thing about, like, Golden Gate Park, like, I know Golden Gate Park because I would walk it so much. And I'm like, there's only so much where you can go where you can still see a person. Like, it was coming up to a parking lot, right? And definitely you'd be able to see, like, it was a crossroads, so it was roads, and I was like, how could I have lost this person who was wearing a cloak and a bonnet, and amongst all this green, like, it's not like she would blend in. I like walk across the road because everything's blocked off, so cars can't really come in, and I come to a parking lot, and it's the Stowe Lake parking lot. And I'm like, oh man, this is so on brand. This is so on brand. Like, oh, you got me there. Like, But I was just kind of like, yeah, that was a ghost. That was definitely a ghost. It might have not been the lady in white, but it was definitely like some other entity,
Yeah.
And I was like, I was telling like my friend, so I was actually like kind of living with her because she was like by herself, even though I had a place to live across. I was living with her for a few months, just just to hang out. And like she didn't like being by herself. And like I just saw ghosts at Golden Gate Party. Like, I believe you. Like, you know, it was just crazy because it's like I think I always get weirded out when I see solid ghosts.
Yeah.
You know, it's like how how are you not real? How are you not a person? If it wasn't for my gift, I would definitely be like psychiatrist, like, you know, probably should see one. You know? So I'm gonna tell two more stories. So and this one happened recently, and it was at in September, end of September, that my friend came to visit me in San Francisco, and we finally went to Alcatraz.
Oh yeah,
We finally went to Alcatraz, and I'm like, man, I'm about to leave and start a new life. Like, coming to Texas, staying here for like a couple months, and then I'm moving to LA in the spring. Like, I was just like, and this is the first time I'm going to Alcatraz, you know, like, because I guess you don't think about it. It's kind of a thing about like, there's people that have lived in the Bay Area or San Francisco their whole lives and haven't gone to Alcatraz or walked the Golden Gate Bridge. But so we finally went and we did the night tour. And like, you know, just like, but I didn't really expect that anything was going to happen just because it was a group. It was still a pretty large group. There were multiple groups there. Like, I'm like, there's probably nothing going to happen, right? And like, there was this, you know, me and Frank were like, kind of like fooling around with like the little visitation booths, you know, like, I'm like, you get over there and I get on the other side and we'll put our hands together. Like, we're longing for, you know, like longing for each other so we could take pictures. And, you know, we spent some time doing that because we were goofing off. So like our group had already like, because it was self-guided, but it was like, it had been done, you know, the little tour guide that tells you where you are. And we were in there just chatting, and then all of a sudden, like, we hear like this clank from like a door that's like in the visitation booth, like somebody like. And then I was like, he was the one that like, did you hear that? And I'm like, yeah. And then we were like, you know, and then we went to investigate what it was, and there was like nothing there. Like the people, like there was no people around. We're like, oh crap. It was just kind of like, maybe they're pissed off. They were like, oh, you know, like, we're in prison, you know, like.
You're reenacting scenes from Crybaby. Just like, you think this is okay? Yeah.
I probably should have gotten like tipsy before I went to Alcatraz. I could have opened myself a little more, you know, but sometimes that's dangerous.
Yeah, especially for you. What you talking about?
I know. But I'm like, they make for good stories, right?
Yeah.
But the last one that I have is actually when I was visiting New Orleans last year. So, like, me and my sister went like after Mardi Gras, you know, after like the weather's not as bad and like it's died down from the crowd, so like it's kind of more chill. We had stayed at this hotel in the Quarter, and it's funny because like me and my sister were like, when we're together, we'll see stuff together.
Mm-hmm.
She's like, oh, the lady in red, and I'm like, oh, I saw her too, like in our room, right? So this lady in red that was there. So it's pretty cool when she's around because she's actually the one that like, she told me she saw a Japanese like samurai in the room when I wasn't there.
Yeah.
And I was like, how the fuck did you see it? What, like, where did this guy come from? But I mean, also like back in the day, like New Orleans was like an international port, you know, but I was just like, I'm pretty sure like a bunch of rich people would like steal artifacts from like, you know what I mean? Like, you know, that's what people did and people still do now, like have like historic stuff in their home. So I was like, that's really weird. But I was like, in New Orleans? She's like, yeah, dude. I'm like, wow.
That's really fucking cool.
Yeah, it is cool. But I wasn't there because my little ass had met this bartender at a vampire bar. And like ended up hitting it off and like I ended up missing 3 flights because of him.
Oh yeah.
And he paid. Yeah. Like we had like a love story fling and everything. So like, I ended up staying with him the rest of my vacation because I was supposed to go to New York and I missed 3 flights to New York. He's like, why don't you just stay with me? So I did for like 8 days, which was I was only supposed to be in New Orleans for 2.
Yeah.
I was like, great. And when we came into his house and like we were talking, because of course it's New Orleans, so we're gonna talk about the hauntedness, and I'm gonna talk about how I see stuff, just so like, you know what you're getting into.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And then he's like, oh yeah, like I'm just gonna tell you, like me and Abe, like his roommate at the time, he was like, we have somebody that pulls our legs sometimes at night. So just if that happens to you, and he's like, and we have been like touched like inappropriately and like groped and like both of them. And I was like, oh, okay, it's just like, I don't know, like I was just not like, it didn't scare me, right? I was like, well, whatever, I did have my Florida water with me too, so I did end up saging and like doing stuff, they were my hosts, so like I'm gonna bless everything in this house and their bikes and everything. Finally come home, and it's funny, that night I fall asleep and something starts touching me inappropriately. The whole time I was in New Orleans and sleeping with him, like he was touching me inappropriately, but it wasn't the ghost, but and if it was, I probably couldn't tell. Just kidding.
You're really good at this. Why does it feel like you have 4 hands?
No, but yeah, like when I came back, like it just like it latched onto him. It latched onto me, and like I was like, oh my God. The whole time, like when he had told me, from the moment that he told me about what happened, like I never thought about it again at all. Like it completely, like I was too distracted about, going to Jazz Fest and seeing Big Frida and like doing all this New Orleans stuff and acting like a local, And like, yeah, when I got back, like that happened to me the first night. And I'm like, this entity came home with me. It's like my New Orleans spooky gift, I guess. But yeah, I just got up and like, same thing, sage and Florida water myself. It's like the thing that I know to do.
Yeah.
And it works,
Yeah.
Sometimes it takes more than once, but it does work.
So was it just the one instance with that New Orleans ghost that followed you? And
yeah, just that one. I mean, there was like small, like I said, like me and my sister saw that lady in red in our room, but it was,
no, I mean like when it latched onto you and
that was the only one. Yeah.
So after that it was like
I'm just glad it wasn't like murderers or something like that.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if I think a incubus is better than a murderer. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, that was the first thing I thought too when you were inappropriate groping. I was like, incubus or succubus.
Yeah.
That could be a fun travel shirt. Like I went to New Orleans and all I got was this fucking shirt. All I got was,
Yeah.
incubus.
I went to New Orleans, I want to go back, like hopefully soon.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, no, I love that place.
Me too. It's been too long since we've been.
I know.
That is wild. Always a hoot with your stories, Mara, I swear.
Like you like to say, I'm Mara.
I'm Mara.
I'm Mara.
Let me just open up myself a little bit right here. Like, no.
Yeah.
There she goes.
There she goes. Bye. I'll see you later. No, I just come back slightly traumatized for a few days.
Yeah.
And then I start talking about what happened. But yeah, it's just like when I was at Leslie's from Purgatory Candle. She used to live downtown, really close to a Cecil Hotel, and like it's crazy because like she would tell me about the man and the candle her studio
warehouse.
Canada
Yes,
warehouse. And like it was not that far away from her place, but one night like we had gone out and like I spent the night and I crashed on her couch. She'd like all sweetly put over the garden wall for me and like took me and it's cute. But like I couldn't sleep because I kept seeing a man looking at me as I was trying to sleep, like this man with a hat, and I was just like it almost looked like a boulder hat. I don't think it was the guy from the thing, but I just saw like this man in like his like early 40s like kept looking at me like almost like the couch is there and he was just kind of like slouching on it all like watching me, and I'm like, oh man, not only do I have to like deal with like the weirdness of like all this weird like energy outside, like downtown LA has like this sticky, almost suffocating feel to it because there's been like so many murders. It's like a cesspool of like just craziness.
And that's where you're moving to.
Yeah.
And that's where you're...
Not downtown though. People are like, you should move downtown. I'm like, hell no.
Yeah.
No, I want to live in like Los Feliz area or like Echo Park. I mean, it's still gonna affect. I know I'm gonna have a shit ton of LA stories, honestly.
I'm excited to hear about your stories in LA when that happens.
Oh, honestly, like the energy there, like San Francisco has a lot of intense energy, but like I feel like LA is just kind of like it's concentrated. It's like that concentrated coffee, you know what I mean? Like
gotta add a little water.
Francisco has a little bit of like leche and creamer, you know, because I feel like maybe the ocean is the cleanser because the ocean helps like balance.
Yes.
Surrounded by the bay is surrounded by water, so I feel like it's like the energy has places to go. I feel like LA is like concentrated, you know.
You see it in the air.
I forgot. Have you
smog?
It's just ghosts.
Spirits and smog.
Have you been to the Rainbow Bar and Grill? I forgot.
Yes.
I feel like we talked about this before.
Yeah.
Maybe a while back, but I have a shit memory.
I think like when we were posting stories, we were out there, we were talking about it.
Oh
Yeah, we were talking about it. How Lemmy's ashes are inside his.
Yes.
Yeah, they're like it's funny because like the Hollywood Paranormal has that episode with Spooky Fruity.
Yeah, we talked about Lemmy and stuff, and I don't know. I was just curious because you're so open and stuff, and I was like, ooh, that'd be awesome.
I am gonna try once I'm there to actually do more stuff and hopefully like maybe even team up with them and do some investigations with them.
Yes, please.
I don't that door, because I know they know Leslie too, so I'm like, it's a small little little community. So.
That would be so flipping cool. You gotta do it. Keep us posted.
And then I'll just come back like later. I'm like, I'm a little traumatized. There's so much murder. Like the feeling that and like when somebody's life has been taken away, like that's a different kind of energy.
Yeah.
It's not easy. So it's like abrupt dread. So I'm like, I'm not looking forward to that, but I'm like, I know I'm still gonna go do stuff. It's just a given.
It's just who you are.
It's just who I am. It's like moth to a flame.
Yes.
You get a little burnt. I heal and I come back.
We're here for it.
Yeah.
Yes.
We'll have it LA edition.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Everywhere you go. Yeah.
You're just a staple.
Yeah. We'll eventually have enough to just have like a little section of Mata episodes. Just give us some time.
I didn't have any experiences in Egypt and Istanbul.
Oh, that's right. I saw your Instagram.
Yeah. Not any ghosties. More like spiritual stuff, but not. I didn't see any ghosties.
When you were talking about Alcatraz and how you were like thinking it might not pop off, I was wondering, that as well, because with like these places people go to all the time, a lot of the time the energy doesn't pop off, and I feel like I don't know what that is. I don't know if like it's just like fatigue or like too much energy in one place, or like I don't know, but yeah,
it just could be a lot of energy and a lot of fatigue
because
too.
I've noticed that too. Like when we go to like super popularly haunted places that are constantly investigated, like nothing really happens. And
They
it's
tired.
They're like,
shit.
then when we go somewhere else, it's like shit be popping up, or like something
No, like,
happens.
it's just like, is anybody here? Like, there is. Like,
Stupid question.
Yeah. That's why I guess so too. Like when people, like, you see the videos of people going to investigate like really abandoned places, like that's when they get the good stuff,
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, places that people don't really frequent. But that's cool that you saw something or heard something at Alcatraz, because I mean we've heard stories and stuff, but again, I feel like you might get more from a place that's not so frequented.
Yeah, my Uber driver, like last week when I was like going to a place here, was telling me that he had gone to Alcatraz and that he had done like the 5 minutes in the hole like thing to feel how it would feel.
Yeah.
And that he felt somebody touch him. And I was like, I believe it. I believe it. He told me that right away. And when I had told him I lived in San Francisco, like he was like, this is my moment to tell you my ghost story. I was like, I believe it. That didn't happen to me, but I believe you, I hate being touched. That's the one thing I'm like, don't touch me,
Yeah. I want to go. That sounds fun.
The night tour. The night tour. It's really fun. You know what's kind of messed up though? Like in the gift shop, they have like the old tin mugs that you can purchase, like the tin mugs they would give them there to drink water.
Oh shit, that is kind of messed up,
dude. And I was like, but I kind of wanted it, but I ended up not getting it.
Yeah.
Like human beings are so funny, like the way that we like make money or like make some sort of like, like with Salem and like capitalize off like that, like damn, they're selling like the prison mugs that used to be here. Like replicas, obviously not the ones that were there, but
Well, I mean, a lot of us have a fascination with the macabre and the morbid. So I mean, it's disrespectful sometimes, but sometimes I partake in it. So
I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like I wanted it too.
Yeah, exactly. That's what. Yeah, it's like
we got like makes me think of the catacombs where we bought like skeleton pins.
Yeah,
and like stickers and like
I didn't see the catacombs. I didn't see the gift shop. Honestly, the worst part of that was like I'm claustrophobic, like severely claustrophobic. So just being down there was just like, this is cool, but
I
can inside.
I'm a little claustrophobic too, and I couldn't think about it.
Really?
It's just you're not underground. Like just keep
walking.
Going.
Just keep walking.
Going. Like I didn't think about it.
Well, I did feel them though. Like I did tap into a little bit when I was there.
Oh
they were not happy. They are not happy people go down there. They're pretty pissed.
Yeah, what'd you pick up? Tell me.
A lot of like annoyance. Like they don't like it that people go down there.
Mm-hmm.
Like they really dislike it.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah,
it's.
I mean that makes sense. That we're disturbing this place. But then I guess I wonder if like even if they even want to be down there, because some of them were excavated. Put down there. Right, and then some were just put down there.
It's just so weird that like your bones get all like, your leg bone is next to somebody's leg bone, making a little pile of bones.
A fucking wall making
it's so weird.
It's so wild.
It's fucking nuts. It's absolutely crazy. Yeah, I'm obsessed, but
yeah. I love it too. I mean, it's the same thing. Like we'll still do it, like
yeah, morbid curiosity.
That's what brings us together.
Yeah.
I'm supposed to go to Japan this year, and like a couple of my friends, because we're trying to make like a little group trip, because it's a lot cheaper if we rent out a house. But like, my friend's like, I want to go to that forest, and I'm like,
dude.
I honestly don't know if I could stomach that.
I don't know if I could. I'm assuming you're talking about...
I you know, just mental health issues. I'm like, no.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. I'm assuming you're talking about the suicide.
Yes,
forest.
a little too sad for my taste.
Yeah, I mean, I would love to see the forests out there, but I don't know, man. That shit's heavy.
Yeah.
That
I'm like, I feel like if we pass by it, I'm like, that's enough for me. But I don't think I could go inside.
Yeah. Walk the trails. Yeah.
That I'll probably be messed up for like a month or so.
Yeah.
Feeling everybody's sadness, you know.
Yeah.
I know what you mean.
I felt that at the Golden Gate Bridge. It was like, you know, like a concert. Like, you've ever been to a concert right before it's gonna start and people are talking everywhere?
Yeah.
It feels like that, but sadness and like crying and yelling and like desperation.
Oh, yeah.
Like, it's exactly what it sounds like. It's crazy.
Damn, that's brutal.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it. That's been it's been so awesome as always.
Yep.
Like we just sit and listen, and it's always such a good time. You make it so easy for us.
I try. Sometimes I jump on myself because I want to, you know, I sometimes forget stuff, but like this time around, I did do like little bullet points, so I was able to not be so like, you know.
We're better the second time around.
Yes.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'll hit you guys up when I'm down there in Austin because I haven't been.
I was just
been in 3.5 years now.
Yeah.
It went by so fast.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, I'm glad we've stayed like Instagram friends and stuff.
For
and
sure.
All that, you know.
I know y'all's trip to Scotland. So
It was fun.
I was so jealous. I'm like, but then I saw Sam Hugan too at Total Wine.
That was so crazy.
See, we're connected somehow, you know.
Yes, that was so nuts. I was like, oh my god, I still need to get
when you guys like were over there, like we could come back. I like saw him like he's promoting.
That's so cool.
Gin and his whiskey. I was gonna tell you. I don't know if you guys saw that I went to Point Sur in Monterey Bay, like for my birthday recently.
Yeah.
And like Zach Bagans had investigated. So I talked to the lighthouse keepers. Like, yeah, he's like, I was actually here when he was here, when they had locked down like
that is so cool.
And then like the lady that does the ghost tours there is the one that was in the episode.
Nice.
So I was like, oh my god, for like you can go there and like for $100 like for per investigation, like you can do everything. But like it had been Halloween. I'm gonna tell you, it had been like it was during Halloween season. So they had done like their annual like lock-in on, because you know the Point Sur Lighthouse, like it has like houses and like it has a little thing out there, so you can see up there. Because the last family lived there in the 70s. Because I talked to them, and I'm like, have you guys seen anything? And this older man, he was like, well, you know, I don't really believe in that stuff, but when we're here last week, we were all inside like the little meeting house and like, you know, just hanging out. And like all of a sudden, because this is on a rock, this isn't a huge like lava rock. All of a sudden, like we see these lights outside, and like there's no way, you have to like walk all the way up basically the mountain.
Yeah.
Like there's no way somebody can casually be walking there, and it's a private property because it's fenced in.
Oh my goodness.
Like down there, like you have to drive to it and then you have to walk to it. Like, and it takes a good like 35 to 40 minutes to get up there.
Wow.
He told me that they saw lights, but you know, he doesn't believe in it, you know.
No big deal.
I was like, yeah. Like one day I'll investigate that lighthouse. It was really pretty. If you guys ever have that chance, it's one of the probably best lighthouse that I've been to. It's really
that's
pretty.
awesome, dude. I've never been to one.
Never,
So.
yeah.
It's an episode of Ghost Adventures. And then you go there and it's all peaceful and quaint, and he makes it seem so scary.
Per usual.
Like one of the earlier episodes where it's like, you know, the spiky, like
and everything's a demon.
Spiky, you know, like his belt. Just kidding. But you know,
Those.
Yeah, just wanted to tell you that real quick. That was like the last. I did that around my birthday weekend
Awesome. Hell yeah, man.
last month. Yeah,
Yeah. Happy belated.
Yes.
happy
So-
belated to you too. You are November or October?
October.
End of October.
Late October. So
27?
yeah, 27.
Yeah, that's the same birthday as my friend over there that used to spend 27. So I'm like, yeah, I know so many people that are born October 27.
That's cool.
We're all good people though. We all have fun.
It's touch and go.
I feel like
It's only because we're sisters.
I know the truth now.
I know your truth.
you know everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for hanging out with us. Thanks for doing this again with us. We really
Yeah. You guys
Well,
have a good weekend.
You too. Have a good weekend. We'll talk to you soon.
Bye.
Bye.
I'm Mara.
I'm Mara. We need t-shirts that just say
I'm
Mara. That girl's wild, man.
I love it. I love it because, she has a gift, but like, I love that she's so open about like, I didn't even call it any protections. Like,
I just went in there.
I just went in there. I love that. She's like, I don't know. I relate because I feel just as chaotic.
Oh man, such a good time every time, and we know that we're gonna have her back. She's moving to a different part of the state, so we're gonna for sure have to have just an ongoing collection of Mara stories.
I'm into it. I can't wait.
But even after all that, I'm gonna need a cleanse.
Let's do.
Omni rigere suminaro. Omni rigere suminaro.
Now take a big deep breath in. Release that baby out. You are cleansed.
Woo! And I feel it.
Do you feel it?
I feel it.
Feel good?
Yeah.
Do you feel lighter?
No, not so much.
Damn it, then it didn't work. No, I'm kidding. Well, everybody, we hope you enjoyed today's episode, and we hope to see you again. Per usual, I'm Bethany.
And I'm Leah.
And we're going to sign off with two besitos.
From these potitos. Damn it, internet shopping. It's got me.